What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Do It All, and this is going to be Game 3 preview out of 5. This video, we're going to be talking about Pittsburgh versus Minnesota Vikings here. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Now, the Vikings defense is probably one of the top 5 defenses in the league, and they're a type of team that likes to play physical with you. They have a great corner in Xavier Woods. Their number 2 corner is a little shaky, but at the same time, they roll the safety over to his side to create that help for him, and they have a great safety in Harrison Smith. Now in their front seven, they can get after the quarterback. Danielle Hunter, Anthony Barr at linebacker is great in coverage and as a blitzer. He's great at run stopping too. Um, Everson Griffin, great run stopping defensive end too, who can get after the quarterback, and Linval Joseph, who's a big man who needs up blocks here. Now on the offensive side for Minnesota, it's an interesting. It's interesting. They played really well on Monday night against the Saints. Dalvin Cook set the franchise record for rushing yards in a debut, and Sam Bradford was terrific on Monday night, finding his receivers. Offensive line looked better than they looked last season. They've made improvements to that offensive line, so that always helps. And Sam Bradford has a whole year under the same offense, which in his career he's never really had. Um, he was able to find his playmaker, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and they were using quick passing game. Play action was available. When you can run the ball effectively like they did on Monday night, the play action will be there. Now for Pittsburgh, this is a great offense. They struggled last week against Cleveland, only winning 21-18, which was a shock to me. I expect Pittsburgh to bounce back from this. Obviously, Le'Veon Bell came back last week. He came back from his holdout, and he's probably just getting down his timing. But this is a better defense than the Browns would bring, and this is going to be a tough matchup for Pittsburgh. I mean, they have Antonio Brown. I expect Xavier Woods to shadow him around the field, creating that matchup. AB will win some, and Xavier will win some. Now the key here is going to be the Steelers' offensive line, which is one of the best in football as well. They have been rated, I believe, as probably the best overall by Pro Football Focus. Last year they were against that Viking defensive line, which can create pressure. Giving Ben just enough time to find his guys. I expect Le'Veon Bell to be used heavy in this passing game, but they have Eric Hendricks and Anthony Barr, two guys who can cover running backs and tight ends. Great speed by those guys too. That'll be an interesting matchup. And another interesting matchup is going to be the outside matchups with Xavier Woods and Antonio Brown, and the number 2 cornerback, who I think might be Terrence Williams, I believe. I mean, not Terrence Williams, Terrence Newman, going up against Martavis Bryant, guys like that from the Steelers offense. It'll be an interesting matchup there. Now, for another tough matchup is going to be the Pittsburgh pass rush versus that Viking offensive line. The Viking offensive line played great last week. I think that this is a different animal, though. This Steeler pass rush is in my eyes a little bit better than the Saint pass rush. T.J. Watt last week in his NFL debut had 2 sacks and a pick, and that's amazing for a rookie. I know some people. I was looking at some things on Twitter and some gifs that people put up, and he wasn't getting the immediate pressure, but because Kaiser was holding on to the ball so long, he was able to track him down and get the sack anyway. Now, this is going to be a different quarterback. Sam Bradford doesn't normally like to hold on to the ball long. He's quick, quick release, gets the ball out quick. So we'll see how that works out. I'm pretty sure that we'll see Kyle Rudolph come in and chip sometimes. And you know they have James Harrison, who's used specifically for passing downs. Now, a couple of other matchups to look at is going to be that Viking running game versus the Steeler defense. The Vikings had great success against the Saints running the ball. I expect this one to be more of a challenge because the Saints defense, as much as they have improved, I don't see them being one of the best defenses. I'm not saying that Pittsburgh has one of the best defenses, but they definitely have an above average defense. So getting Dalvin Cook going, getting Latavius Murray going, being able to use play action is huge for Sam Bradford's success in this game. Now, going on for this game, um, both teams are 1-0. Now, I believe that the percentage is about 86% of the time teams that start 2-0 make the playoffs. Um, I don't think Minnesota is a top 10 team, but they played like a top 10 team last week. I think there are some small things that they need to adjust probably along their offensive line a little bit, even though they protected Sam really well last week. But if they can win this game, it goes a long way in saying that we're ready. If Pittsburgh wins this game, it's just another check mark for them on the season as they make a march towards trying to be the number one seed in the AFC. They did look rusty last week, but it is week 1. There was a lot of sloppy football played last week. I expect that to change in week 2 as teams get more playing time, I guess you can say, compared to the playing time that they get in preseason. Now, my prediction here. My prediction here is that Pittsburgh is going to win this game. It's going to be a close game because the Vikings defense will keep it close. I'm thinking 20-14. 20-14 win. Now 20-14 because Pittsburgh has just enough firepower on the offense with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell will probably rush for about 87 yards, almost 90. It's going to be tough sledding, but Pittsburgh is going to want to keep that Viking defense on the field so they can wear them out in the fourth quarter with their big offensive line. It's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a very great game to watch. Now, 3 reasons why each team will win. For Minnesota, it's going to be protecting Sam Bradford, obviously. Getting the running game going to use play action. And keeping Antonio Brown below 80 yards. I know that's a tough task, considering he had, I believe, 180 last week for 11 catches. Now, 3 reasons why Pittsburgh will win. Le'Veon Bell goes for 100 yards. Plain and simple. They're able to control the clock, keep that Viking defense on the field, and wear them out by the fourth quarter so that offensive line can take over and run block. That's something offensive linemen love. I played offensive line in high school. When you can get going on the ground, you know you're dominating your opponent. It feels great. Number 3 is going to be flustering Sam Bradford into turnovers. That goes without being said. Whoever wins turnover battle, I believe like 85% of the time wins football games. Plain and simple. And Sam Bradford is prone to mistakes, and he's prone to hold on to the ball a little bit too long. So, that's my prediction. 20-14 Pittsburgh. Let me know your thoughts. I'm out. Thanks, guys.